Hi, welcome to Shanghai Eye. I'm Timothy Pope. Every weekday here on Dragon TV, we're going to bring you stories to explore and decode China, and we're going to be covering the whole sweep of urban life, arts and culture, technology, and even sport, everything that makes Shanghai fantastic. The humble soybean is a cornerstone of global agriculture, and China uses a lot of soybeans, far more than the country can produce. So it relies on countries like the United States and Brazil to fill that gap. Those two countries produce around 2/3 of the world's soybeans, while China commands 60% of global soy imports. Those imported beans go to make oil for food or livestock, and even though we don't eat them directly, they are critical for China's food security. So Zhang Zhixuan recently travelled to 2 soybean farms in Brazil to find out more.
This is Mato Grosso in central western Brazil, which by its name means thick forest that's historically known for its agricultural production. I flew halfway across the earth to the news source. Mato Grosso, the state that's Brazil's largest producer of soybeans, in October, the year's sowing season. And yes, I itched to hop onto the giant cedar. And that's me talking to the operator.
Faço 140 hectares por dia, trabalho 12 horas por dia, de outubro a dezembro.
Honestly, before I had no idea about the size of the Brazilian farms until I set foot there. You could be driving on a bumpy road for hours and never leave the one farm. Every farmland in Mato Grosso is calculated with tens of thousands of hectares or hundreds of millions of square meters.
We are doing double crops.
These lands usually grow corn, cotton, coffee, or soybeans in turn, and even breed livestock. The 2 farms I visited in October only finished harvesting cotton and corn and started planting soybeans for the year.
China is the first destination of our products. China represents 35 to 40% of what we export in the agri-food sector. We are doing $165 billion of exports every year. China represents 60 billion.
And the proportion for exports of soybeans to China is even bigger.
Bom Cargill ADM, mas eu acredito que em torno de 80%, que é mais ou menos a média.
Aproximadamente 70%.
See the smiling faces? China's been demanding more soybeans.
每年我们的加工大豆数量大体上在1200多万吨，其中呢有80-90万吨是国产大豆，其他呢1000多万吨呢来自于进口。进口的国家呢主要是你像巴西、阿根廷、美国。
Carry Arawana is one of the largest cooking oil processing companies in China, consuming more than 12 million tons of soybeans a year.
这些年进口构成在发生很大的变化，80%来自于巴西，过去中国从美国进口的大豆数量占到70-80%。
In China, soybeans from Brazil are mainly used for producing soybean meal and oil processing. Soybean meals for livestock such as pork, poultry, and aquaculture, and cooking oil for food industry. Historically, China's soybean buyers have usually bought Brazilian soybeans from February to September. After that, from October to January, U.S. soybeans dominate procurement lists. Take a look at the overall soybean export prices released by the International Grains Council, where you can see the soybean prices of the 3 major producers, and the local buyers will pay the tariff and value-added taxes based on the prices. So this year, due to the tariff turbulence triggered by the Trump administration, the soybean buyers in China have turned to Brazil as a dominant source throughout the year.
现在已经在巴西派有专业的团队，他们已经深入了巴西的主产地。
Starting this year, the soybean importer dispatched procurement professionals to Brazil for the first time. The change in procurement strategy has not affected the world's largest soybean importers' demand. In the first 11 months of this year, China already imported more than 100 million tons of soybeans. In November, soybean imports reached a 4-year high. That means the country's soybean imports are likely to reach another record high for the year in 2025. Has that kept you even busier?
Sim. Demanda realmente está muito aquecida. O Brasil tem exportado. Agora no mês de setembro, novamente foi exportação recorde de soja no Brasil. Né? 11, acho que se não me engano, 11 milhões de toneladas foram exportadas. Então, realmente, o mercado de soja está muito aquecido no Brasil, nesse momento, pela China e também outros países que têm comprado o Brasil.
So this is soybean leaves.
Sim, soja.
Can we walk inside?
Yes.
Just be careful, right? Yeah. Don't touch the leaves.
De soja nós plantamos ao total 24 mil hectares. É mais ou menos 55%.
Usually, the farms spend a month planting the seeds starting from October, and it would take another 4 months to harvest the soybeans.
In 4 months, we can get soybeans from this
Yes,
plant.
yes. For China, have more 6 months, and we need a truck.
Go to the port.
Yes,
And then go to Shanghai.
yes.
Many of the farms in Mato Grosso have been planting soybeans for decades, and exports to China date back as far as 25 years ago.
A soja tem aumentado a produtividade nos últimos anos, né? A gente levou em torno de 10 a 15% a produtividade nos últimos 5 anos.
It's a common theme among the farms in the area. They're growing more soybeans, and a larger share of the harvest goes to China.
At this point, I started wondering how the farms have been able to increase their productivity in such a rapid speed. It turns out to have a lot to do with another big Brazilian farm industry, cattle.
Fazem 5 anos. É a área de reverte. Aqui era pura pecuária e agora é alterna.
The day I visited the farm, the cattle had just moved to the other side of the land, and so the left side of the land was available for planting soybeans. The reason for the transformation was pretty easy, a more lucrative business.
Acho que 100%, porque o mercado asiático, eu acho que em torno de 20%.
It's not as simple as just moving a few cows and then planting soybeans. They have to first recover the land downgraded by the cattle to make sure it's suitable for the new crop. And so I met with a technician to learn more about these efforts. I think the land here looks like desert. Is it possible to plant soybeans?
The characteristics with this soil, it's 10% until 20% of clay in Brazil.
It's hard to plant
It's hard to plant. So to achieve to plant that, we need to use cover crops. This is the cover crop, and the roots with this cover crop will bring the nutrients in 1 meter of deep in the soil and push that for the superficie here. I will try to show exactly the roots. Maybe we can just see.
Ooh.
Look, that's so baby root.
It feels kind of interesting when I touch the cold and humid crop roots when I was standing on a seemingly dry soil in a scorching 36-degree heat. It's a magic of nature, and also the brilliant minds that figure out a way to bring new life to the soil and more money to the farm owners.
Normalmente ela consegue dar uma rentabilidade 2 vezes maior que a da pecuária, né? Aqui no Brasil, a soja é uma das atividades agrícolas mais rentáveis e dá um rendimento médio em torno de 15% por safra.
When the soil is ready, it's time to plant the seeds.
Oh, there are many of them. It looks like pearl.
The seeds don't look like ordinary yellow soybeans. They're covered with a colored cloth. Protecting the seeds against plagues and disease is part of the big task facing agriculture tech firms in Brazil.
Those are soybean seeds. What we are seeing here, we are comparing seeds with no application of products.
So the blue bean means it's covered with medicines.
Yeah.
When you apply those medicines to the seeds, how much more yields are you expecting?
Oh, in different crops we have different answers for that, but we can improve, for example, plus 10 bags each hectare. That might be around 20%, 15%.
Wow.
In Brazil, we plant almost 40 million hectares of soybeans every year.
The Seed Care Institute is part of agriculture tech developer Syngenta's R&D center in Brazil.
Syngenta was originally a crop protection and seed company from Switzerland. In 2017, it was acquired by ChemChina. That $43 billion deal was the largest ever foreign acquisition by a Chinese firm. And in 2020, ChemChina and Sinochem Group consolidated their agricultural assets into a new holding company called Syngenta Group. Syngenta has thus become the world's largest agriculture technology company.
In the past 20 years, for instance, if I think about the results of Syngenta in Brazil, it has grown more than 3 times the size of the business as a whole. And with that, we are, of course, making investments so that we can develop more technology for tropical agriculture. So if I think, for instance, of the acquisitions, of how we structure our market access in a different way, so a lot of this has happened in the past 5 years.
While China's demanding more soybeans from Brazil, the agri-tech firms are allocating more resources also in this South American nation's agriculture industry. The business scope has thus been consolidated in the country. To see the growth behind the numbers, I paid a visit into the firm's R&D center in Brazil.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you. Welcome, Lisa.
Wow, a very
it's
nice
a pleasure
spot.
to receive you here in our research center here in Olambra. This is an important site that we have here in Brazil. This is a site that we have more than 50 hectares here.
So what's the function of this R&D center?
Here we check technologies for like herbicides, fungicides, insecticides, products for seed treatment and also biologicals to provide different solutions to our customers to help and address the technical needs that they have at the field. In the last 5 years, we have launched 3 very important technologies that we have. And in this year, we are having the opportunity to launch another new technology to help and control nematodes, seeds, and soil disease.
Any significant expansion?
Yeah, we say that every year we expand something around $2 billion all around the world. A huge part of it, it's here in Brazil. So every year we invest in here. This land, for example, we will build a new lab, a new biological lab.
Biological?
Yes, a specific biological lab. We are talking more than 2,000 square meters here. The idea of the start of the operation to be around 28, 29.
How will it help soybean planting? How much more yields are expected?
5%, 10%, 50%, until 20%, I think it's possible to find it and to develop something like this.
So it's expected to be a long-term investment in Brazil's growing agriculture industry and its attractiveness for more international demand, especially from East Asia.
If you've got any questions for us, we'd love to hear from you. You can find us on all the socials, and all of our content is online as well. And of course, join us here every weekday on Dragon TV. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.